Okay. I am gonna see if I can do this on my own. So, I had gone through the first turn with an experienced player. We were going to play a game, and my dice rolls went terribly for me. And also, I think he didn't like these bridge markers here or something like that. So we decided that we would do it over again. I guess this is 3. Yeah, okay. And also, yeah, he wanted some changes, and I sent them to the creator of the module, and the creator of the module agreed to make the change. He added back a marker. Okay, start a new game offline. Okay, I'll put in my name, password. Okay, so I'm going to use xkcd password generator. Okay, I'm going to write that down on my phone. Holland 44. Okay, let's type it in. Next, select setup. Campaign game. Next, join as which side? I guess I'll do Allied again. I think he said Allied was easier. Begin new flock file, yes. Okay. So call this 2025. 4. Okay. Enter file comments. 2025 8 4. Okay. Logging begun. Okay, so I think the first thing is to see which optional rules we're going to be going with. So, optional rules, disengagement. Wait for the phasing player to retreat during the combat phase. Okay, we'll use this one. Disengagement, isolation, attrition, play balance. Oh, this doesn't have what the guy was talking about in this video.
Controversy.
Oh, okay, it does have it there. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I'll put it in the log file using all optional rules. Here. (27.1) disengagement. 27.2 isolation, attrition. 27.3 play balance. Okay. And how do you designate that this is not going to be optional?
History of this one hex.
Let me see what he's.
All right, so I'm going to move a bridge unit from this stack and show you what you can do. 1, 2, and then 3. You're half counter and not.
Okay. So do I have to delete another one? Okay, that's right. What do they call that? What is that? 6, 4, 2, 1. So remove. Why is that not in the log? Move it here. Okay. All right. Next.
About OCD and kind of clutter and things like that. I like that kind of stuff. I mean, stuff I can probably just remove from the game entirely if you don't need it. Makes sense. But first time I've ever seen that optional, counter down part. I normally don't ask for it. And when I play the British, I normally don't try that because I think it's worse. You want craft to retreat versus, in my opinion, you want craft to retreat versus succeeding in the rest. I'll raise guys, but it's easy to sort of defensive trade more problem. Anyway, so I'll do it, and you still have the option because if that's a 0, 0, 0, then you're still a 0 controlling them.
Part that has made me procrastinate about this is the opening is so, like, you have to do it in a particular way.
Okay, so we would start with air landing, and we roll. Normally, people start 34 and for Goblin work their way down. We ignore all die roll modifiers. But if you look over here by Nijmegen and then we'll look at it in a minute, you notice you got 4 in one of the hexes with that hex marker on it. So the maximum to land there are 3. You can put 2 at one of these, and you can put 1 at one of these.
Okay, so we're going to switch to the air landing phase. We don't roll for weather the first turn. Skip this. Turn 1 is automatically clear. Oh, maybe. Do I have the sequence of play here somewhere? No. Duplicate. I think it's on the last page. Here it is. Okay. Okay. Allied player turn, German player turn. So next is to the bridge phase. Doesn't apply because there are no I mean, yeah, because there are no, well, you are not allowed to repair these bridges until bridge repair. Bridge repair. Zero and No, there's no bridging unit in good order adjacent, and the other hex isn't clear of. Okay. Right. Okay. Next, the air landing phase. Place arriving airborne units Okay. Place arriving airborne units in an eligible drop hex and roll. Okay, so go down here. Zocs and Zoc bonds. Wow, it really jumps down to here. Okay. The drop hex, air landing table. Reinforcements. German remnants. Where are the reinforcements? Oh, I think that's... where are the reinforcements? Weather. Okay. What's this? How do I tell when my reinforcements arrive? Air landing points. This is not really written in a step-by-step manner. This is where you can drop. Air landing table. This is just what happens when you drop. Yeah, this is where you can drop. This is what happens when you drop. What is that? 22.3. Air landing points. Right. This is, I think, what I want. Beginning with turn 3, the allied player enters airborne reinforcements into play with his available air landing points. 4.4. Okay, that's what I want to see. Sequence of play. Let's duplicate this again. Effects of weather. The allied player receives 9 air landing points. Oh, okay, so I should have read this. Okay. 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 Triple. Okay. Okay. So at least it linked to the right place. On turn 3. It really should put that here. It should be starting on turn 3. Bop, bop. And this one is on every turn. Okay. 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 So this is okay. If landing on an enemy unit, conduct that combat at this time. Okay. Place arriving airborne units in an eligible drop hex and roll on the airborne landing table. Well, these guys are already placed, so I don't think I can move them. Roll on the airborne landing table 22.3. Okay. Oh, that's probably a chart. Bridge demolition. No, not that. Air landing table. Here we go. Turn 1, roll only 1 die per hex. If a result other than no effect occurs, apply it to 1 infantry type airborne unit in that hex. Allied player's choice. Okay? So I believe the next thing is for me to roll for 6418. Let's see.
So at N here, you've got N, that's a hex of N, that's a hex of N. So since the one hex has 4 in it, you've got to at least move 1 somewhere else. You could move 2 if you wanted.
Oh, wait.
So put one of the hex marker on it. Okay, 9 Megan, and then we'll look at it. You notice you got 4 in one of the hexes with that hex marker on it.
Oh, what is this? 4818, 481, 488, 4819, 4824, 4924. Does that mean that I can place them in either of those? Where's the setup card? I guess that means I can place them in either.
So the max, you got 4 in one of hers. But if you look over here by, people start 34, and I mean, dribbling and work their way down. We ignore all gyro modifiers, but if you look over here by Nijmegen, and then we'll look at Eindhoven in a minute, you notice you got 4 in one of the hexes with that hex marker on it. So the maximum to land there are 3. You can put 2 at one of these, and you can put 1 at one.
Oh, okay, so the maximum to land in one hex is 3. What is this? 3 what? 3 regiments? No, these are battalions. So that is rule... Where am I? I think I've got too many of these things open. Oh, where an airborne unit is placed is determined by the drop hex code looked on. These codes correspond to drop hex codes printed on the map. The degree of leeway to this drop hex is determined by the turn. Okay, so I'm going to move this here for a second. This just says N. That says T. And then how do I hide? I think it's like... How do I hide the markers? Set all markers, Ctrl+Alt+I. Oh no. Visible? Alt-V. How do I hide? Alt-H. N-N-T. Okay, I see. I see. Okay, so Z X Z S, got it. Y. Okay, so what you do is, so next I refer to the code, the top right letter on the airborne units to determine where they can drop using the rule in 22.2. Okay. No more than 9 steps may land in each hex per turn. So I need to spread out the units at drop zones N and 0. Okay, no more than 9 steps. How many steps is here? 1, 2, 3. I guess artillery doesn't count. One, two, three. Are these? Oh, that's movement. That's the movement factor. That's the steps. 2, 4, 6, 7. I think that's how to read it. And this is 3, 3, 3, 3. Right. Got it. Okay. So what did I do last time?
So at N here, you got N, that's a hex at N, that's a hex at N. So since the one hex has 4 in it, you've got to at least move 1 somewhere else. You could move 2 if you wanted. Here. And then you can remove that marker with the numbers on the green. And then you have to do the same thing over by the ground bridge.
Right. Okay. So 1, 2. Okay. Close that. Okay.
Because it's got 3 over 2 hexes. Well, technically you don't have to, because you can have 3 in one place.
Now, what did I do last time?
What I would do is 2 over here, 1 there, just like you just did. And then we'll have to do that, I think, for 1 by the Son Bridge, by Eindhoven. You've got 1 hex at the 82nd Airborne.
Oh, okay. Do I want want the stronger one or the weaker one there? I guess put this one? I don't know. Whatever. Okay, and okay, this guy.
Split the keys. Let me turn in first. So we split the keys. Just get 2 and 2. That's right now. You want to develop something? They have to purpose it up. Just remove them. Ctrl+D.
Okay, move 1, 2.
When you set it up in physical copy, you don't do that. But for some reason, it knows that you would. All right, we are then. So we are ready for air landing, and tell me where you want to start. Yeah, so it's 1 roll per hex in turn 1. In turn 3, it'll be 1, and thereafter 1 per.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we're live. I'll show you what I do when I have bad vision. And so what I am very fond of is you click on the 3 1 button there, and you see how stuff goes and all this stuff. So when you see if you were doing this by email, I would grab one of these and I go like that. Okay, I'm rolling through this one. Boom, and I might say exactly what you did, the hex number, and then roll.
Okay, so 3 to 1. Put that here.
Yeah, yeah, that's typically what I would do, the hex number and the roll. And I like these little yellow markers because they are good for my vision.
Okay, so we're going to say rolling for the drop, airborne drop in 6418.
So go ahead and roll north to south, and just 1 at a time, and do the hex number. Yeah. The first one you have a bad thing. So you're going to lose 1 step, and
Okay, so if I refer to the rules, air landing. 1 die per hex. So D6. 6. Fuck. That's what happened last time. Alright. So S1. The airborne unit is scattered and loses 1 step. Record 1 airborne replacement for the appropriate division on the airborne replacement track. Okay. The unit is scattered and loses 1 step. Okay.
from either one is your choice. I would lose it from the 333.
Okay. So lose step.
And he's also going to be, what is it called? What's it? Scattered.
And scattered. Okay.
So you can right click and go to combat, but I can that control and the left bracket will be the quick ways to add and remove stacks and blocks. No, control and the left bracket will be the quick ways to add and remove stacks and blocks.
Add and remove stacks from guys. What?
That control and the left. So you can right click and go to combat, but I can that control and the left bracket will be the quick ways to add and remove stacks from guys.
Oh, steps. Add and remove steps from guys.
Nope, the one who took it. There you go, perfect. Sometimes it puts those on the top, and that's just a Vassal thing. So. Alright, so
Okay.
since you lost a step, now I'm going to grab that arrow and I'm going to take you down to the replacements, what are they called, the returnees? I'm not sure what they call them here. Airborne replacement track, okay? So right above the turn marker, we've got one of these for each airborne group. So you just lost a step of British, so we move that up to the 1 column. That represents those guys being scattered. They'll come back to you.
Okay. So how do I do that? I can't. How do I scroll while I have it selected? Oh, maybe I remove that? Just do it like this. Okay.
You in a future turn. Does that make sense? But lost, where you start with full strength units, right?
Okay.
Now, those represent steps lost of the division during various landings, okay? You can accumulate this. So I very often will accumulate these and not return them, at the earliest opportunity. I'll wait and see when a critical need arises. So you can keep tracking, like, if you lose more, we'll keep adding more. But then on turn 3, when you get some more, or turn 4, when you get some more landings, you might be adding to it and subtracting to it to put some people back into steps lost units. Damage units. Okay? So, I have to look at the rules to see if it does before. If it's done before, you've got a really bad drop. Yeah, I still think if you before, you've only one division, you've got a really bad drop. It's going to happen to me. Yeah, I still think if you before, you've only one division, you've got a really drop. Okay. So, I have to look at the rules to see if it does before. If it's done before, you've got a really bad drop. Yeah, I still think if you before, you've only one division, you've got a really bad drop. It's going to happen to me.
Okay, so next.
So look at the next view. Just left click and drag. Hold left click and drag. Yep. That's right. Yeah. Now, when I play back a vlog, I typically just hold down the page down button. It looks like a slow motion animation. I have all these various things, and so I really
4. Oh, nothing happened. Okay.
that red arrow because then two things. I have what's called prism, a really bad prism, where one eye sees up and one eye sees down. So I have two things there. Helps me my vision when I can see that. I like it. Yeah, good idea. So they should be fine.
Oh my god, it's the same roll. Okay. Now let's add him here. Going for 6217. No, 6217. 6. Fuck. Oh no.
There's another step again. I would
Oh my god.
the smallest unit, and then go ahead.
Okay. Two. Taking off the smallest unit, so. Loose step. And scattered. Okay. Ctrl+Q. And then I go down here. Advancing the airborne replacement track. Okay.
And then add one more step to British first air. We've got to scatter that guy too.
All right. Got through
So
one
done with British.
division.
Second, and you know, people usually just do north to south. Yep.
Five, 0, 2, 4. 5. That's an S result. Okay, so I pick one unit. They're the same. So I'll just pick this one. Oh, wait, I'll pick. Okay. Okay. Four, 9, 2, 4, drop. 1. No result. No effect. Okay. 482 drop. 4824 drop. 1. No effect. Okay.
Five means one is scattered. We're close. No. Yeah, are you aware that you can use the number of buttons to you can select one counter and use the left and right arrow buttons to move it up or down in a stack, or you can use the up and down arrow buttons to move it to the top or bottom. Buttons to move it up. Yeah, are you aware that you can use the number of buttons to you can select one counter and use the left and right arrow buttons to move it up or down in a stack, or you can use the up and down. Use the number of buttons to you can select one counter and use the left and right arrow buttons to move it up or
Okay. Should write that down. Okay.
or down in a stack, or you can use the up and down arrow buttons to move it to the top or bottom.
Bottom. Bottom. Okay.
In a game like this, we only have three. You know, top of these squad leaders. I can have 8, 9, 10 counters in a hex. It's really helpful. And yeah, no problem. All right, so on to the next. Go. Good.
Okay, so this is 4818 3. No effect. 4819 1. No effect. All right. This BD. What's BD? Phase. No. Okay, it's not in the rules.
So take it from the one who's a 4-5-3. Nope, do it from the one who's already 3 steps. He's got to be scattered, and you want to add one for the 82nd Airborne replacement. Cool. Yep. Yeah, I'm sorry. I might not. I was. I'm one. Go. All right. Now the only consequential unit is this one across the ground grid. All right. Now the only consequential unit is this one across the ground grid. Yep.
4715. Drop. 6. Fuck. S1. How do you get an 8? Oh, DRMs. Ignore all modifiers on turn 1. Got it. S1 result.
Not fix your problem. As long as you have one fix it. Because he's there to keep that unit from being doubled. Alright, so we are now off to the 101st Airborne.
Okay, so I think that means he's dead, yeah? It's a one-step unit. Okay. Eliminated.
Right up the street from me here in Nashville. You got spent, not scattered. Right. My opinion, gosh, my opinion is really that it's fine either way. I play this game, and look, you know, it sucks to craft dies to that rule, but doing that has a downside too in trying to protect a DZY on game turn 3 or 4. So it's something, yeah, it's a liquid British first one, liquid DZY. It's farther away from Arnhem than where you drop right now. That's when big C stuff must come in. You're adjacent to DZY, and I know that and you know that, so I'm gonna get no control on it. I agree. That's because it's one of the breakdown units. So if you click on it, I'll grab a scattered. Under the allied tab of competitors. You?
We'll just keep this open. Okay. 4008 drop. 6. Okay. So blue step, and he's scattered.
The thing about it is, you know, you're going to get this step back. It's just where and when you choose to bring it back. It's, in some senses, you know, it's a future reinforcement.
Oh, right. I've got to remember to do that. Oh, I forgot to do that for this guy. Okay. So that was the 101st. Okay. Okay, so that was this guy. So now I still got to roll for this guy.
Oh, you got the wrong one. So you moved 82nd Airborne again? Oh. You only lost one from Airborne, right? He's under the Polish one there. And then I usually just do like that. That. Oh, come on, man.
Okay. Okay. So this is the 3708 drop. 1. No effect. Three, 306 drop. 5. That's an S result. I'll just do the bottom one. Scattered. Here we go. Alt-Shift-C. Let me just Alt-Shift-C. Okay. Oh, why is this guy marked as moved? Oh, because I did move them. Right. Okay, so I'll do this guy next. 3206 drop. 4, that's no effect. 3207 drop. 2, no effect. Okay. I think that's all of them. All right. I did all of the airborne drops. Nice. Okay.
There you go. A little from some average. Rare for 2 divisions to lose 2 steps. At the beginning of the turn, you can put them right back in, damage speed. Oh. Yep, and you can go to the movement phase.
Okay. Here. Movement phase.
And why don't we start with 34, because your options at 34 are very, very limited because of the ZOC bonds that I have to start. And that way we can kind of go through talking about anything you want to talk about. You've got really limited choices.
Yeah, I had spent some time before starting.
Well, I know you didn't want to see my file, but you want me to discuss some options that you have that you might not think of.
Sure, yeah. And it seems like this first turn would be particularly important.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I'm bringing this up. All right, so you've got a bridging unit, right? See that? You got a bridge here. So you can start it this turn, but you could start it next turn, okay? But that will require this unit not to have a ZOC here. So you're going to have to attack him and put that bridging unit there. That way, starting on turn 2, assuming he gets retreated, which is very likely to happen, I'm just keep it short of it's very likely to happen. That way, starting on turn 2, you can have this going, and on turn 3 it'll be done. And then if you look at your reinforcement cards, you get a lot of reinforcements here in zone M on turn 1 and 2, or 2 and 3, I should say. So if you don't know to start this bridge right away, you're losing a turn immediately. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not starting on turn 2, starting on turn 3. Okay, hang on just a second. I want to get rid of these things. They irritate me.
All right, let's remove.
So I'm not going to move those. So if you hit me, this unit, and you retreat me, 1, 2. Let's say I'm there, right? I'm disrupted. You can still, so starting on turn, you're going to advance. So you're going to have a friendly unit there now. Now you can start building the bridge on turn 2 because you have a friendly unit preventing my ZOC from that. So it's a two-phase process. You don't have to attack this guy on turn 1, but you do have to attack that guy on turn 1. So you can try turn 1, but you do have to ZOC to advance. So you're going to have a friendly unit 2. Let's say I'm there, right? I'm disrupted. You can still, so starting on turn, you're going to advance. So you're going to have a friendly unit there now. Now you can start building the bridge on turn 2 because you have a friendly unit preventing my ZOC from that.
I see. So I don't need to retreat both of them. I just need to retreat one of them. And by retreating one of them, that allows me to advance into that hex, I think.
You don't have to attack this guy on turn 1, but you do have to attack that guy on turn 1. So you can try. Yes, advance in this game is almost always in any direction.
because it's not a bond. It's not a zonal control bond.
And in this one, this is a game in the ZOC series that has smaller units. We're dealing mostly with battalions instead of regiments or divisions. So the other ones are dealing with regiments or divisions. I think we're dealing with battalions. Well, and the smaller hex. So we have less. Every unit has less combat firepower to output. That's every other one. Yeah. It works like all the other games. So wow, this is the only thing that British can. That I know of. What they're doing. All right. So feel free. So feel free to go ahead and get started. But we did move in there. Let me.
Okay. So he has a movement of 5. Movement is rule 8.1. Here we go. Right, extended movement increases it by 2. Okay, and there's a terrain effects chart, which is bottom here. Road. I think bridging units are mechanized. Right, and they pay 1 on a minor road and 1/2 on the secondary road. So this is 1, 2, and 1/2 to get into there.
Since I'm giving you this, I want to show you the efficiency model, okay? Because this really gets down to the efficiency model of somebody who knows how to squeeze every firepower point, okay? So these guys don't need to go anywhere. One of these two, double check the stacking restriction. One of these two stays there, okay? I think it can stack there, it just can't attack. The other one is going to go 1, 2, 3. He's going to participate in this attack, right? Now he's 1, 2.
Okay. One, 2, 3.
And then we're also going to take this alarming car. He's involved.
Okay.
Anything else? And this Royal Tank Regiment, who can go anywhere, right? It can go right there. So.
Okay. It's 1, 2, 3.
I am going to be doubled in defense because all 3 attackers are attacking across a canal or major or minor river. The difference is that the minor does not have the firepower of infantry-based units. So these guys count for 10, whereas these other guys count for half of whatever it is. And then you've got to have the firepower of infantry-based units seen across a canal or major or minor river. The difference is that the minor does not have the firepower of infantry-based units. So these guys count for 10, whereas these other guys count for half of whatever it is. And then you've got to factor in, but you don't in this case, the lead unit. Well, we're already having everybody on the one side of the river, so we can make this really simple and say purple's the lead. All the other guys who are not lead are already halved anyway. So that's a nice simplistic feature of this game. And it works out to 22, or it's going to be 22 or 24 to 10, okay? So it's starting out at 2 to 1 with no tank bonus. But you've got, so then the next thing you would do is that, and that, one.
Oh my god.
So it's starting out at 2 to 1 with no tank bonus. But you.
So move him here. 9 steps.
So then the next thing you would do is that.
Okay.
And that. If you don't know, you don't move those, and you're damaging your chances for movement on turn 2, right?
I see. You want to get these guys on the road because I think they have to start their turn on the road to get the bonus. Okay, I don't think you have to start on the road to get the bonus, but you're just wasting a movement point if you were to do that next turn, I say. But why couldn't they stack together? I think they could, right? Why not move that one here?
I'll be starting on that road, just in case. So that's how you set up to attack this and start the bridge in this zone M as soon as turn 2. That is kind of an essential option. It may not work, it might roll poorly, or I might do a determined defense or something like that, but it usually works. Okay, and then so you've got him set up the way he needs to be, and then it's really just kind of a matter of what you want to do with these 3 units. I usually, because this is an inexperienced unit, and because he can both attack and move 1 hex across that boundary line, I usually attack it with these 2 guys because you get a free right shift. Right? It's 11 versus 4. Yeah, so these 2 against that 1, it's 11 to 4, which unfortunately is as good as you can really get against it, but it's still 3 to 1 before you factor in your 2 air units and your several different lines. 2 to 1. The quality of the unit gives you a right shift, which becomes 3 to 1. I'll try not to pass those shifts. So that's kind of where I go for 1. That's more or less my basic move, and then I bring all your attack this hex or this hex. Even if it's 1 to 1, I'll do it. Mostly because those guys are slow and don't have anybody else to attack by virtue of the fact that they only got those 2 or 3 hexes they can move through until those defenders are gone.
Alright, no, sounds good to me.
So, well, go ahead and move the units from, what is this, the 50th division? Yeah. 50th division. Around, make sure you're illegal, but figure out what you want to do with them, and then we'll go take a look at the airborne.
Well, you had said that you have them.
Yeah.
So these are both stations. Right? These 2 are the same right?
Yeah, and then you've got a spare hex here that these 2 could go. Right? Yep. Alright, and then I'm...
Okay.
going to give you an advanced tip here at the start. In this game, units that are stacked with something but do not attack, they still advance in the event that's after combat. So, what I typically do, when it's me, some people would attack the stack too. What I typically do is overstack those. 3 per hex, right? They can't, 2 of them, 1 in each hex can't attack, but they can still advance and then they'll be across the finish. That's all.
I see. Whoops.
But some people don't do that, and instead,
Oh, because he's on the bridge
what
hex?
they do is, maybe 3 on this one and 3 on this one. Does that make sense?
Why
Or 4 on this one.
can't they all? I thought it's like 9 7 attack.
Oh, well, you may be right. I thought it was 3. I thought it was 2 units. I may be thinking the road. No, it's 2 in a free stacking unit, not 9.
Oh, okay.
It's 2 in a free stacking unit.
Oh, it's 9.
So,
the overstacking.
it's, yeah, it's where overstacking comes in.
Yeah, so I'll do it how you recommend with the 3 on each.
Yeah. All right, now when it comes to
Okay. Whoops.
the airborne, what I would say is maximize how many bridges you try to make me blow, because on turn 1, you have your best chance of falling and not blowing. So, definitely want to get adjacent to this bridge and the Son bridge. Really, we should roll for the drop. Really want to get adjacent to this
Vagel.
bridge and the Son bridge.
So,
Really, we should roll for the drop, but we should pick this guy right now if you're at the drop bridge because you're adjacent. That's a new rule. If you're adjacent, you do that. So let's start there, okay?
Or maybe you should grab the arrow.
You don't have to be fanatical about it, but plenty of times I lose track of it. Yeah, so I'm
going to do everything properly. Like, you seem to have way more turns.
I played 25 head dedication.
Yeah,
I think that's the level. Alright, so I just did a reveal on it, and since you 0-0, he gets removed. You right click remove, he automatically goes up in that box over where it's done. So now you can go ahead and start moving. Essential first turn movement, we'll start at Arnhem. Essential first turn movement is to follow this road with one of those 4, 5, 3s and get to this X. This is the Frost Battalion. Perfect. Frost. I don't know how well you know the battle.
No, but I have to watch the movie again.
Yep. It was Andy Hopkins, Bridge Bar. He's the second shoot.
Is it half the equivalent or just like pay half the price?
Only if you're a motorized unit. You're a leg unit, so you're paying 1 per hex. Extended movement gives you 2 extras, so you have 5.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You don't have enough. Right.
Extended movement. Okay. Got it. So that's basically what it's saying is like extended movement is you're foregoing your ability to attack in exchange for additional movement. Got it. So that's just like the John Tiller games.
But this is every game, right? Every game the Germans are going to start with only tactical movement. So he's going to come here, and you're going to use the infiltration rules next turn to get into that hex, which will expose him, and will determine what happens to him. Sometimes you walk right in, sometimes you have to fight for it.
Cool. Alright. So the rest of
Yeah, nothing's full and then drops in line until at the earliest turn 3. So what I typically do is I'll send a scattered unit over to DZY, and I'll send one of the 333 or the 233 from this hex out to DZY. And then I'll have a 453,
Hold on.
233 from this. So what I typically do is I'll send a scattered unit over to DZY.
Okay. So this guy's scattered. So 1, 2, like that.
And I'll send one of the 333 or the 233 from this hex out to DZY. And then I'll have a 455, and I'll send one of the 333 or the 233 from this hex out to DZY.
2, 3, 3. Okay.
And then I'll have a 453, 453. I think we got one more 453. 1, 2. 453.
Hold on. Movement. Non-mechanized, mechanized. What's the... Okay. So this one can go here. Here.
I think we got ZY. And then I'll have a 453, 453. I think we got one more 453. 1, 2. Yeah, and then bring 4 or 5 here, so you get what you're looking at 4, 8. You want to get to 10 against that unit because 10 starts it at 2 to 1, and because the British are elite, they'll get a right shift for being elite versus regular, and it'll be 3 to 1. If you want to use the artillery, you can make it 4 to 1.
Whoops.
That's really where your option is. The problem with using, and sometimes I use artillery, sometimes I don't. I would say usually I don't, because the earliest you're going to get that artillery flipped up is turn 3.
Okay.
Our next turn is a night turn, and there's no artillery replacement or no artillery drop. Next turn is a night. That's really where your option is. The problem with using, and sometimes I use artillery, sometimes I don't. I would say usually I don't, because the earliest you're going to get that artillery flipped up is turn 3. Because our next turn is a night turn, and there's no. Because the problem with using, and sometimes I use artillery, sometimes I don't. I would say usually I don't, because the earliest you're going to get that artillery flipped up is turn 3. Because our next turn is a night turn, and there's no artillery replacement or no artillery drop. Because you might want to use it in defense, or you might want to use it in support if you have to attack something here. But, now, so one thing that I do know in the second edition, this is my really only my first game, second edition. I started one when somebody failed. We can do turn 2. I've noticed that the German reinforcements have changed, and the German reinforcements have changed in a way that makes it harder for the German to threaten DZY in turn 2. I'm not going to go into the details about that. So my thinking is you are safer now to use the artillery in turn 1 against craft. It's more useful than waiting most of the time. A lot of that's going to depend on what kind of unit is here. Okay? Because there's a couple of units that have 2 defense, which will be doubled to 4, but there's also units that have no defensive trait at all. Okay? We just don't know yet.
So I guess
So have 2 defense most of the time. How to use the artillery in turn 2. I'm not going to go into the details about that. So my thinking is you are safer now to use the artillery in turn 1 against craft. It's more useful than waiting most of the time. A lot of that's going to depend on what kind of unit is here. Okay? Because there's a couple of units that have 2 defense, which will be doubled to 4, but there's also units that have no defensive trait at all. Okay? We just don't know yet.
okay, so I guess
So I would probably, when it comes to combat, use the artillery. The scattered guy I would move right on top of him.
how do you select?
And so I would probably, when it comes to combat, use the artillery. The scattered guy I would move right on top of him.
How do you select?
And then this scattered guy I would move really to here. I don't want. You don't want me sneaking by along the river towards your back your guys. Yeah, right there. You can only move 2 scatter. And then this scattered guy I would move really to here. I don't want. You don't want me sneaking by along the river towards your.
Okay. So remove.
Back your guys. Yeah, right there. You can only move two. Yeah, it won't be tactical. And then the other ones, you know, I would try to have ZOC bonds over here, so I'd make sure I have one more unit.
Oh. Shit. Okay. Fuck. Okay. I guess I'll put... Do I want him on the river, or do I want him... What does this guy have? 1. Oh, okay, I'll just put him... 1. 2. Do I get a bonus for being in? Defender doubled. Okay. 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, can I advance after... Hold on. I want to know... On units, page 27. Okay. Hold on. Okay, so I want to do this. Undo. Because the garrison of 6314 was... Oh. One, 2, 3. Oh, but I don't have ZOC bond here. Move him here. Okay.
Does that make sense? And then, so this green one goes with this guy. You know how those operate together, where if they're stacked together, they only count as one unit?
Oh.
No, two. Weird. I don't know. They only use that in this rule in this game, so when they stack together, they only count as one. So yeah, I just keep them, try to keep them close. Like this guy, he might have him, you know, in craft, a couple of turns from now, you might have him link up with this other guy. Sometimes they get completely separated.
Oh, shit. Hold on.
it's just kind of different. But you got a nice tight organization. That's a perfect start for Arden, and you're kind of done. So,
Hmm.
oh wait, you're not kind of. We want to move the artillery 1 hex, and we want to move the airborne supply head 2 hexes.
1, 2.
Because right now you're not in range of here, okay? But that's actually something else, right? I don't like to give too many options because then you can get into analysis paralysis, right? Just have some fun with it, and if you have questions, I'm happy to answer. But I want to let you explore the game and the rules and ask the questions you want to ask.
No, that's fine. I mean, I'm usually interested in where it probably has like kind of a set opening, and it's just get into the game.
I don't want you to think that. I don't want you to think that. I think 30 core has a set opening, definitely. There's not much you can do until you start breaking up that opening line, right? And here you have a little bit less options because there's only one unit in Arnhem, so it does look like a set piece. But you have a lot more options with 82nd and especially 101st. And I will prevent you from making a dumb beginner's mistake. I'd say, hey, this is why you don't want to do that. Like I said, if you have any questions, I'll let you know.
So the artillery has a range of 3 hexes, is that right?
Right.
So it needs to be like 6,
Yeah. And so that's one reason why I'm saying to use it against craft in turn 1. But if you didn't want to use that and you thought you might want to save it specifically for the Arnhem bridge hex, then really, knowing what I know about the game, which is that the artillery can only move 1 hex and still fire, right? Next turn you can only move here and fire. That's not enough to get you close enough to support that bridge hex. So if you are going to, you kind of need to decide during the movement phase whether you're going to support craft or move. And if you're going to move, then you want to get one of these artillery schlepper counters because the airborne units can use these. Okay? Do I grab?
I see. Right, that's the...
The airborne units can use these. They all came down to Jeeps to tow these 105s. So if you wanted to do that, the only way, if you wanted to support this hex next turn, the only way for you to get in range to do it is to use one of these this turn, and you could go 1, 2, 3. You could get right to there, 3.5. You wouldn't want to go there because you don't have a ZLC. I'm not going to get rid of Or you can stay further back if you want. I usually like to stay and make sure nobody can cross here, something like that. So you got options. But yeah, if you didn't know, right, you wouldn't know if you want to fire an Arnhem on turn 2, you need to mount up and move on turn 1. So that's one of your first big decisions.
I mean, I feel like... Yeah,
I'll give you what happened historically. Historically, I would say that the artillery supported the attack on craft, and craft made his BD. So he lost a step, so he stayed in place, and that was a huge reason the whole operation fell, is more because he got a BD. But they didn't have to support the Arnhem Bridge because the one major surprise they got was there in Arnhem that the Germans didn't leave a garrison strong enough to defend the bridge.
I guess I'll use it with that craft. I don't know. I guess I'll go to the point for me.
Still move 1 hex. Might as well move 1 hex. Well, the other thing you can do, Nathan, if you want, is look at the combat table. I'll see you to bring it up. So it's going to be the difference between 3 to 1 and 4 to 1. Okay. On the 3 to 1 column, if you roll a 1, you kiss your sister. You get an engage where nothing happens. So craft stays at 2 steps. Whereas to make sure it's 4 to 1 with the artillery support, you're at a minimum going to make sure craft loses a step or retreats.
Okay, yeah, so let's do that.
So move that 1 hex, and then that puts that in there. And then just think, if you have any questions about what to do with certain landing zones, let me know. But it's your game. Take
No,
the
that's fine. I'm in learning mode right now, so that's fine. Whatever the normal course is. So does that mean we're now done with the first airborne?
We are now done with the first airborne. If we were in, go ahead. That's not, I don't want to say that. Wait till combat phase.
Okay. So then next we do the second.
Yep. Okay. So here's the pro tips that I have for you. Your best chance to take Nijmegen, the town, and the bridge is to be aggressive on turn 1, and that means sending these 2 units together as a stack. Okay. And then I'll reveal him. All right. So we're going to have to fight him in the combat phase. So if it was a 0 unit, like one other we saw somebody, and we pulled it off, then these 2 guys would be able to enter that hex and go direct combat on turn 1 with this guy. And it would be 8 to 8, which is 1 to 1, but then the shift for the morale would make it 2 to 1. You're never going to get, 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 is about as good as it gets on that Arnhem bridge section. So I have learned to really go for it on turn 1 and turn 2. Even if on turn 2 I'm still going to be trying to unseat that guy. And then after that it's not as big a deal. But if on turn 1 or 2 you can do it. So let's leave them there. So now we're going to, in the combat phase, when we attack this unit, we're hoping to get a die result that will allow us to do breakthrough, or what is it called, breakthrough combat in this game?
Yeah.
Or you can get effective combat. Over here.
1, 2. Okay.
Here, it doesn't matter. So your only consideration is the call breakthrough there. So now we're going to, in the combat phase, when we attack this unit, we're hoping to get a die result that will allow us to do breakthrough, or what is it called, breakthrough combat in this game? You know, where you can get back to combat. Over here, it doesn't really go for it. Whenever we get combat on turn 1 with this one other resource there, and we pulled it off, then these two guys would be able to enter that hex and go direct combat on turn 1 with this guy. And it would be 8 to 8, which is 1 to 1, but then the shift for the morale would make it 2 to 1. And you're never going to get, I mean, 2 to 1 or 3 to 1 is about as good as it gets on that Arnhem bridge section. So I have learned to really go for it on turn 1.
Okay, so 5, 2, 2, 3, no, 2.
And turn 2, you know, even if in turn 2 I'm still going to be trying to unseat that guy. And then after that, it's not as big a deal. Like on turn 1 or 2, you can do it. So let's leave them there. So now we're going to, in the combat phase, when we attack this unit, we're hoping to get a die result that will allow us to do breakthrough, or what is it called, breakthrough combat? This game? You know, where you can get back to combat. Over here, it doesn't matter.
Breakthrough combat, what's that again? $18. Okay, if you get a DS or DMR, so if it's a dramatic win, so I would not get that against these guys, most likely. Yeah.
So your only consideration with these guys here over by your speed is that each of these units over here has a 1 in 3 chance of entering the board. And your turn 2, correction, your phase 2 reinforcements come in right where you are. So usually you want to try to set up a little ZOC bond 1 hex away from where you just landed towards the edge. So you put something here and here. Usually you want to try to set up your turn 2, correction, your phase 2 reinforcements come in right where you are. So usually you want to try to set up a little ZOC bond 1 hex away from where you just landed towards the edge. So you put something here and here. So I use the scatter guy, since he can't haul ass anyway, and one of the other units to go to the other hex. There you go. Yeah, exactly. Okay, now you've got the start of it. Now we want to see what's here before we overcommit. So send either one of your other 2 units that hasn't moved adjacent to them. All right, reveal them and we'll see what's here. All right. So now you want to, well, so let's look what the odds are, right? 4 versus 2, you're starting at 2 to 1, but you're going to get 2 shifts, 3 to 1, 4 to 1. So we know 4 to 1, you control 1, you roll an exchange, so I'm dead, even if you don't have anybody out there. So you might want to go over here and see what's going on at Mook. Or, and in this case, you could wait too and see what this guy does. Because this guy's going to have to try to, I don't know why all this stuff is here. That's not usually here. I don't, you know, that's another form of bridge destroyed marker from the old game, the old edition. But anyway, I'm going to use Fireball right now. That's a new feature in the game. All right. We'll deal with those as we start moving.
Oh, it looks like there is a way to quickly place bridging back to
Yep. So I can't roll to blow any of those. Go ahead and move.
Okay,
So this guy you haven't moved yet. I'm going to say you could move him over to see what's at Mook, or you could move him over to see if he has a bridge that will let him get next to Mook. So as soon as you do that, I got to roll for this bridge here. So Bob's your uncle, it blows. So I will place a blown marker there.
Okay. $5.3. Oh, okay, that's going to be in the player card. Here, no. Bridge demolition. Okay, so 1d6, -1 on turn 1. 2. Okay. 1. Should I just hold that bridge, or should I try to check out these other bridges? I guess this guy can't move. 2. 4, 9, 2, 0. Okay. Oh, he likes this other one. Where is it? Markers. Where is the markers? Is it this one? DD. Is this? No. Setup and reinforcement displays. Ah. Okay. Right, and this is the airborne. Okay, so this is what I was looking for before. Turn 2, I get all this stuff. Turn 1, I don't get anything. Okay. Unit inventories. Okay. One, two. This one? Oops. 2, 1. It is intact. Okay. Okay.
See, this is what I don't like. Why do I need 2 of them? Well, so there's no way to get rid of that stupid orange marker.
Yeah, I don't like those, but
What?
maybe
Oh, yeah, it made the game aesthetically worse for me, which was
oh
great.
yeah, for sure. Aesthetically, so I should.
Alright, so that one's blown. You've only spent 1. So, yeah, you want to go there, and then I'll try for the next one. Here's the roll. That one blows. That would be 3-4 if you want to go there, because you don't have a road to go through, but you have to do that. That's what I did. Because you can't, your only classic now is your first move. So let's roll for this one. This one's blown. No, that's good. And that's, well, you could go to this one, but I don't have one. No, I got it. If you went there, you could go for 1
I don't have enough.
more, and we'd reveal that guy and see whether you got one left. For extended.
But I'm not allowed to use it adjacent
Is that true?
to any, right?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. I'm forgetting about that. Okay, and that'll happen because when you play enough of these games and choose 2 or more systems, you forget some of the little subtleties that are different in this one. Yep. Okay. so you're right, you can't move adjacent to it because it is technically an enemy unit right now. Okay, so then you got this guy who can check out Mook or double down on that fight if you want. Okay, so let's see what's at Mook.
Okay. One, two. Okay.
Alright, Mook, we've got nothing, so I removed it. It's not a combat, so it's just a movement point. 3 there, so I'll go ahead and roll. I technically don't have to unless you try to cross, and you don't have enough. Well, you don't. Alright, rolling. He's got one more movement point left. One, two, three. He's got 3. He's got 3. His woods are... Yeah. It's only if you go through a third woods and none of them are on road that your wood goes up. There's very little underbrush. You can call it.
So should I move him?
Don't ask, just do.
I think I want to move south to protect against.
Yeah, remember on turn 2, even if I come in, I can only move 2 hexes. I can only tackle movement. But I wouldn't spread out and worry all the way down to Gemma. I would just worry about Mook and that fairy right next to it. Yeah, or the wood sex.
Okay, but there's no bonus for me.
Yeah, I think you don't get an armor bonus from woods here, do you? Or do you? Woods. No armor shift in woods. So if you're in the woods, I can't get an armor shift in woods. So if I had armor down here, it's already be letting stuff away. Alright, so you got a couple more units left of... Yep.
Okay, so I guess I'll move him. Should I move him up here? He's doubled to 8. So this guy is not going to be enough to get another increase in odds against him, I don't think. If he's 4 doubled to 8, and I have 8, that's 1 to 1, and then a shift to 2 to 1. This would just bring me up to 12. And I don't think there's a... yeah, there's no, like, 2.5 to 1, or 1.5 to 1. Okay. So then... but maybe I'll take a step loss? Let's see, on 2 to 1 in exchange. Caged. Okay, attacker takes 1. Okay. I don't know. And what do I hide this? I mean, so this is doubled to 4. So this is 1 to 1. Doubled to 2 to 1. But I already have this bridge. So do I really care about this thing? I'm not sure that I do. And I can, like, hide out in Malden, maybe. So he would go up to 4. I could get 3 to 1 against him. And I could potentially get that railroad bridge. All right, I'll do that. I don't know what I'm doing.
Correct. The one thing I would all right, so you got a couple more units left of. Yeah,
Nobody next to the bridge. They don't need to do anything.
correct.
They should make it
The one thing I would note is that 2-step unit and that 1-step breakdown on the other side of the bridge, they are essentially a broken down, separated unit now. Probably.
where which one?
Draw. So this unit and this unit can link up and become a 3-step unit, or you can keep them separate.
Okay. Three minus one. Okay. Oh, hold on. Okay. Is it this?
Essentially, the 82nd Airborne starts with one of its 2 breakdown units on the map when it drops.
I see. I see. How do I know? Oh, it's just either of those 2-step units can be brought up to 3-step.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but they have to be in the same mix.
Yeah, they have to be the same.
Okay, gotcha.
At the same time I say that, there's another thing I want you to just the default, right? You're going to garrison somebody here, and you're going to garrison somebody here. So you have a ZOC bond. This hex is super powerful, and you probably want a 3-4-3 in each of them, because they're doubled on defense. He'd be doubled here from being behind the river, and he'd be doubled here from being in the town. So normally what I do is park somebody there, and that's it for the 82nd Airborne's southern front. Okay, you have a little bit of a problem. Hopefully you'll get that last bridge.
Scattered from 2 hexes.
Yep.
Okay, so they're done.
Yeah, that looks like everybody there except for the supply, and all I would say with the supply is just put it with another unit. The supply hit. And down to 82nd, you want to, these 2 guys that are around, sorry, 101st, you want to surround Bagel so you can get all those bridges checked.
Oh.
So let me roll through this one. That one is not blown.
Nice. Okay. Surround Vagel. So,
There you go. Let me roll for that one. That one blows.
and then the
Bad
other
bridge
unit should
spot.
check the other bridge at here, or what?
Hang on, I got to check this guy too. So he's dead. Well, so I wouldn't worry about those ones so much the first turn. I would worry about those later.
Okay. And what's the reasoning for that?
No German can get to them before you do.
Okay, makes sense.
Even on turn 2, right? None of my Germans can move more than 2 hexes. So you're going to get the chance to have those blown or not. Well, yeah, turn 1's better. Yeah, no, I would go over there and try it. As a matter of fact, this guy can keep going.
Oh
Hang
yeah,
on.
right.
There's the 0. You didn't enter ZOC. So that's 1, 2, 3, and I'll roll. you got a good bridge here. And then go across 4 and get into Earth.
So he started here. Is that right?
No, that's right. 1,
1,
2, 3,
2,
4,
3,
yep.
4, 5. Okay. Got it.
Over there and try. None of my Germans can move more than 2 hexes, so you're going to get the chance to have those blown or not. Well, yeah, turn 1's better. Yeah, no, I would go over there and try it. And as a matter of fact, this guy can keep going.
Oh, yeah, right.
There's the 0. You didn't enter ZOC, so that's 1, 2, 3, and I'll roll. All right, you got a good bridge here. And then go across 4 and get into Earth.
So he started here. Is that right?
No, that's right. 1,
1,
2, 3,
2,
4, 5.
3,
Yep.
4, 5. Okay, got it.
All right, so it's not great that this is broken, but you do have 2 bridges that will allow you to push across armor. All right. So that other one, he technically hasn't moved yet. Control M if you want, Oh, another thing on this, I don't know if you know Control T, movement trails.
Control T.
So I'm going to grab this unit here with Control T on him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, got it. You have to select the unit.
Sometimes you lose track of how many, sometimes you lose track of how many you've counted out or whatever.
Yeah, that's
When I'm doing play by email, it's super, super useful because then I can check if you counted too many hexes or did something weird.
And it's you turn it on per unit. Is that right?
Yes, on and off per unit. And then an etiquette thing about Vassal, if the very last button up there in the row of buttons is something that marks all of our units moved, unmoved.
Okay.
So if you look at the unit that we just digged around with, he's marked moved right now. I'm just going to Control M, now he's not. If you click that button, everybody, so this guy here that I just did Control T on.
Well, I didn't see that he had a moved. Oh, that's what that little black thing is. I was wondering what that was. Okay, cool, got it.
So move button. If you press that button, it does everything. Usually, if you're doing play by email, leave that for your opponent to press.
Got it.
Because I want to press it in my turn, then you get to your turn, and you can't see what I did.
Got it. Got it.
You can't undo it, but that's only if you catch it right away. All right. So you got that other unit over by Vagal, and then the units down by the San Bridge. Historically, the San Bridge was not taken before it could be blown, and the 101st tried to attack into Best, but they got trounced basically, and they never crossed over by those 2 bridges by then. And the 101st tried to attack into Best, but they got trounced basically, and they never crossed over by those 2 bridges by then.
Okay, so I have a question. So the scattered unit, should that move into Vagal? This one?
Yeah, sure. He was the first one there.
And then this guy, should he also move?
That's too far.
What's that?
Yeah, no, he started here.
1, 2.
So that was 2 down there.
Oh, because he's scattered, he can only move 2. Right. Okay, I forgot about that. Got it. Okay.
And again, I wouldn't worry about Vagal defending Vagal on turn 1. because nobody I have can reach it. But on turn 2, you want to have somebody who can get in there and hold it. Yes.
I see. So then this guy should.
We need more about Bagel defending Bagel on turn 1 because nobody I have can reach it. But on turn 2, you want to have somebody who can get in there and hold it. Yes.
I see. So then this guy should come to St. Odin Road or what?
You're making me play your turn. So I would leave him up here for turn 2 around Bagel. What I would do literally is this: 1, 2, see what's here.
Okay.
All right. So now you know you can attack or you cannot. And then with one of these guys, I would go 1, 2. Let's see what's here. All right. So now you know you can attack or you cannot. And then with one of these guys, I would go 1, 2. Let's see what's here. All right. Okay, so you could attack him or not. And then this is a very important hex. So we're going to take this 2 here and do that. What's here? Nothing. Okay, so now you can continue on. I'm going to go ahead and roll for this. Yeah, nothing. Okay, so now you can continue on. I'm going to go ahead and roll for this. Yeah, you're having terrible bridge luck. And then get these 2 guys over here and roll for this bridge right now. No, that one does not get blown. So that's some luck if you can get in the best. All right. Does that make sense for this bridge right now? That one does not get blown, so that's some luck if you can get in the best. All right. Does that make sense?
Yes, got it.
And then I would just, well, actually, with best being where you have a good bridge, I'd go that way. Make sense?
What's the
And then I would just, well, actually, with best being where you have a good bridge, I'd go that way. Makes sense. With best being where you have a good bridge, I'd go that way. Makes sense?
what's the
Otherwise, it would go over.
rationale for like where to position your airborne supply head?
Well, it's a little more complicated subject than you might think. It's different for 82nd Airborne than for 1st and 101st. The 101st it is largely irrelevant because they get relieved so fast by 30 Corps. Okay,
Right.
but you want to be next to an open bridge rather than a blown bridge for obvious reasons.
Okay.
You can trace to the south end. Okay,
Right.
but you want to be next to the 101st it is largely irrelevant because they get relieved so fast by 30 Corps. Okay,
Right.
but you want to be next to an open bridge rather than a blown bridge for obvious reasons.
Okay.
You can trace to the south end of the map. It's definitely different for the 82nd Airborne because most of the time their second phase reinforcement airdrop isn't going to happen until the third day, sometimes until the fourth day, because you have bad weather on day 3. If you don't have great weather on day 2, you're probably going to have bad weather on day 3 because there's a diral modifier. And if you have bad weather on day 3, you're either going to get half or none of the 82nd second phase. And so if you're waiting on day 3 or day 4 for those units to come in by airdrop, you want 82nd supply head to be moving towards a clear hex around Nijmegen, because by that time, turn 3 or turn 4, you want 82nd supply head to be moving towards a clear hex around Nijmegen, because by that time, turn 3 or turn 4, you have much more latitude where you drop. And by that time, you can drop wherever the supply head is. And that gives you far more leeway than dropping back where they're going to be listed as, which I think is going to be DZN. I think everything for 82nd is listed as DZN or T. So given the weather situation that they're going to have, it's likely they're going to be dropping onto their airborne supply head. And so you're going to want it to be close to where the action is.
Got it. And does that also apply to the first airborne?
Well, the first airborne gets surrounded so fast, it doesn't really matter.
But you did
Does that
move
make
it.
sense?
But why did you move it?
Yeah, just to get as close to the bridge in Arnhem as I can, because there's a chance that you can take the bridge.
But what's the rationale for the supply head being
there? Because it has the ability to negate a diral modifier, a bad diral modifier if you are landing Polish troops at it. Because you can't take replacements unless you can trace to it.
Got it.
So knowing, typically what happens is what historically happened, where you're going to have 1 or 2 units get cut off at Arnhem Bridge, and the rest in those towns and woods nearby, trying to hold on until 30 Corps gets to you.
I see. So, but you're saying that if you move the supply head up, you can keep the unit in Arnhem in supply, or no?
Only if there's no blockage by a unit, and that's most of the time there is. So most of the time that unit ends up isolated.
I see.
Yeah, it typically just will end up in either an Oosterbeek or in the Sex. That's really what I tell
And
you.
it's just used for the Polish landing.
Correct.
Got it. Okay, that answers my question. That was a great answer. Thank you.
All right. So, we moved everybody? I think we've moved everybody.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So let me show you how I would do it in play by email. Okay. I'm using that 3-to-1 button. It's got letters. And this is to find it really easy, right? This is going to be, we'll look up at Arnhem. This is going to be combat A.
Okay.
He's part of combat A. He's part of combat A. He's part of combat A. You're going to use the artillery?
Yes.
He's part of combat A. That's how you show it, right? And then you might flip it over to its
Got it.
flip to its fired side. Right, there's combat A. We didn't reveal this guy, so you don't want to combat him.
Right.
No reason. That one does have a move on. All right, so let's go down to Nijmegen. We have combat B. It's going to look just like this. 4-to-2, that would be 2-to-1 odds, 3-to-1 odds, 4-to-1. If you attack this unit, you can have 4-to-1 odds.
Yeah.
I would say yes, do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because you're going to move me. And then the other thing I would do is put that on you too. So you're getting that because you're live.
Why did you?
The reason I'm doing that is because for play by email, you will know what my math is. That gives you a chance to.
Okay, so this is 4, 8, 11 against 5. Or what is it? Elite? Right. So for combat B, okay. How long have I been doing this? 2 hours. So that's 1 to 2. Should I wait for them to not be scattered? Okay, I don't want to do it like this. I want this guy. Oops. Can I undo his movement? No. Oh, because he moved here. 1, 2. I see. Where'd he come from? I see. Okay, I'm gonna cancel all that. Okay, combat C. Yeah. Okay. Oh. Oh. Okay. Did I roll for the bridge at grave? It's intact. Huh. Okay, so they both came from DZ0. One, two, three. Oh. One, two. Oh, right. One, two, three. Okay. So that was C. So now D would be vagal. Oops. D, D, D. Okay. Is it rounded up or down? Round any fractions up to the next whole higher number. Okay. Units are elite, so I shift to. Okay. I think I just want to attack to see if I can get that bridge intact. Okay. F. Yeah, let's take best. Oh, do I want that? Hold on, he's got 5. Doubled to 10. I have 8. Hold on. Oops. Eight, 12, 14, 14. Not quite. Oh, it's 14. So I'm not going to get to 2 to 1. So 14 to 10. Okay, let's do it. 10-6. So I really want to take that unit out before it gets reinforced, because then I lose that shift. Okay. All right.
To double check my math. I will make mathematical errors. I will look at 9 and tell you it's 10 all day long.
I see.
And so up here, what do we have? 4, 8, 9, 10. So that was 2 to 1, 3 to 1. That way, let's say you made a mistake, and instead of 4 to 1, it was actually 2 to 1.
Right.
That's something where I'm going to say, hey, do you want to make a 2 to 1 attack? You know, rather than, because what we do is, when we're playing by email, you will do your moves and set up combat like this, then you will send me the file, and I will resolve the combats, A through whatever. That gives me the ability to retreat my guys. I control my guys in retrio. And if I want to DD, I can roll a DD right there, and then I'll give it back to you. And then you'll do your advances and break your combats.
Okay, hold on.
Be the file. Because what we do is, when we're playing by email, you will do your moves and set up combat like this, then you will send me the file, and I will resolve the combats A through whatever. That gives me the ability to retreat my guys. I
Okay.
control my guys in retrio. And if I want a DD, I can roll a DD right there. And then I'll give it back to you.
Right.
And then you'll do your advances and break your combats.
Got it.
Right? That's so. This is makes it kind of step by step, easy to follow, easy clear to follow.
Makes perfect sense.
This is our speed. And B was 8 to 2. That's 4 to 1 odds, 5 to 1 odds, 6 to 1 odds. So you're very likely to have that break for the combat. Well, maybe 50-50. I'm not sure. All right. The next thing, I want to make sure we attack best, because it might take 2 turns to do it. So we'll call that D. And I'm doubled to 10 because I'm in a town. You have 4, 8, 12. So it starts at 1 to 1, but there's going to be 2 shifts for morale. So it's going to be 1 to 1 becomes 3 to 1. Follow?
Let's see. So I have 12.
And I have 10. Doubled in the city.
Then it's double, right? Yeah, got it.
But I'm low morale and you're high morale.
I see. Okay, right.
So I lose 1 for the defending, and you gain 1.
Got it.
So it becomes 3. All right. And that is all the combats from the airborne that we can do during the so these 2 are optional, between Bagel and Best. But if you look, you've got 4 to 2 against this guy, which is 2 to 1 odds, then 2 shifts. That's a 4 to 1 combat. I would do it against him. Make that E. Against the other one, maybe not, but maybe. So E is 4 versus 2 with 2 shifts. So that becomes 2 to 1 becomes 4 to 1. And then up here it would be 4 versus 2, so 2 to 1, but instead of 2 shifts, you're getting 1, makes it 3 to 1. 3 to 1. If you roll a 1, you get an exchange. But that would kill me, and you'd take the hex.
And what's your reason? Like, why do I care about this whole western part of the map? Is that
Okay, so this little 1-step unit right now, if you let him live, I would be more than happy to make him a sacrificial 1-step loss in some future attack.
I see.
So instead of a good unit getting flipped over from like this 4-5-3 you see nearby, he'd become like a 2-3-3. Instead, I just get rid of the KG Mellets and say thank you for your service.
But I mean, wouldn't that also mean okay? So you would attack from like some separate because you're limited by how many units you can attack from a single hex. So is the idea like you would attack from 2 different hexes, and one of the hexes would contain this unit?
Right.
Got it. Okay. Got Yeah, so that's a good reason to do it.
Okay, so you would have 3-1 in this case. It's 2-1 with only one shift becomes 3. And what letter are we on? F. All right. So that finishes up with the airborne. You're fighting everything you can fight.
What do you
Like I
think
said,
about like the
remember,
historical like to
absolutely. Except the Vagel Bridge didn't get.
taken out? Is that realistic that the Germans would have
No, it's an infantry comfort. It's the quality. It's a get units anywhere I can.
unit for a casualty? Yeah, I'm just reacting as
History. I'm satisfied that this is pretty close to historically accurate.
okay. Well, that's a good endorsement. All right,
Again, I've played 25 face-to-face games.
face to face.
So one side is yeah. Well, I mean, I play by email, Vassal.
Okay,
So I've seen almost everything that can happen.
cool.
I'm very excited to have the second edition.
Yeah,
I stopped playing it.
yeah.
All right, so that takes us down to the setting up the con. I'm just doing this for email. When it's email, you want to set up all your comments or combats.
Yeah, this is helpful. It's extremely helpful.
All right, so get down to 30 core, and I'll show you.
Yep.
G, we're going to do right there. G is going to be right there. You're going to want one of these on G. And the air, I'm going to explain to you where your options are. H is going to be right there, and then it's going to involve these 3 hexes. That's going to involve him. I told you how important it is to try to kill that unit. I put there. J. All right. Let's go calculate. Now, attacking down a road in this game invokes some sort of limitation on the number of steps it can attack. That's unique to this.
I don't remember that rule.
Well, I may be imagining it would be the first.
I'm looking at the manual as well.
Let me find it. Okay.
There is a rule that the tanks have to follow the path of a road if they're attacking into Boulder to get the shift.
Right. It's something we can worry about later. But I know only 2 steps. I do need to find it. I always say to people like looking at goals, working circles. Stacking limit is any 2 units plus 1 free stacking unit. Stacking.
Road congestion. The breakthrough group may not conduct a breakthrough combat from a hex containing friendly units that did not take part in the original combat.
Oh my gosh, just tell that one to me in a second.
16.3.5. That might be what you're thinking about.
Okay, I found it on 642, first what page am
I see.
Page 6. So under attacking, no more than 2 units plus 1 free stacking unit may attack from an overstacked hex. So that's where I'm getting that from. And you are overstacked because you're over 2 and 1. Two units plus a free stack.
What?
You have 3 full units there right now. Now, the gamey thing to do,
What?
you have because you're over 2 and 1. Two, and you are overstacked because you're over 2 and 1. Two units plus a free stack. You have 3 full units there right now. Now, the gamey thing to do, but it doesn't really matter too much, is to break down one of these other 3-step units so that you have 4 units in there. One of them is a breakdown. So you'd have a 3-step unit, a 3-step unit, a 2-step unit, and a 1-step unit. Does that make sense?
Hold on.
And then you could have that 1-step, and that's really gamey. I don't like it.
Okay, so I was confused. So it's not that 9 steps is the stacking limit. It's 9 steps is when you take losses. You have to take losses.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So sorry, I missed everything.
There's a different limit than stacking, essentially. All right. Well, I'll skip it. I say too much.
Well,
So you're okay. Well, like I said, you could. Let me just pull this unit out here. Okay. I could take a step off of it during the movement phase. Right. Poof. I just took a step off of it. I could come up here and grab. Where the hell are the breakdown units? I think. So I'm used to the breakdown units being on the upper left part of the map, literally there on the map. Now I don't see them, and I don't know where the hell I find them. Let's see if I do it like that, because that would be helpful. Okay. Now, why does it say that? All right, so you're in computers, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of what you do for a living. All right. So the option before was different than it is now. It used to be that I had all those breakdowns on the map, like they were physical counters. I could just drag them from up there, and I would put somebody up there. Now they have taken that out and made it part of the interface. So if we look at this 766 here, right-click on it and come down to Other, there's a breakdown option. That didn't exist in the past. Okay. So when I took him down to 2 steps, that breaks. Down after taken that out and made it part of the interface. So physical counters, I could just drag these now. It used to be that I had all those breakdowns on the map, like they were physical counters. I could just drag them from up there, and I would put somebody up there. Now they have taken that out and made it part of the interface. So if we look at this 766 here, right-click on them and come down to Other, there's a breakdown option. That didn't exist in the past. Okay. So when I took him down to 2 steps, that breakdown option disappears because when you're a 2-step unit, you become a remnant. That makes sense?
If you were to lose it on a step.
You know, that brings the idea that you can't voluntarily break down a 2-step unit into 2 1-step units. I used to do that in first edition. Maybe you can't do that anymore.
Well, I mean, I thought that they did that on purpose so that you could cross ferries. Like that was why you wanted.
Right. You're right. So I'm a little bit lost. But anyway, this is what it would look like. And so you would, instead of having 17 versus 5, what did I say? No, 17 versus 5, you would have 19 versus 5. Does that make sense?
No, because why? How did you move that tank vehicle? Or how are you?
We split the 766, which was a 3-step unit, into a 2-step unit and a breakdown unit.
Oh, and the breakdown unit is a 3-step
So now it's represented by 2 counters instead of 1.
And then you're able to use that the breakdown unit as a free stacking unit in the attack. Is that the idea?
Yep, because notice it's got the free stacking symbol. Right. And that's why I think it's gamey.
Well, that doesn't seem gamey to me at all.
That doesn't make.
I mean, you're using, because like my visualization of this is that the limitation on the number of units that can attack out of the hex is like a representation of the what do you call it, the available room that the units have to advance through and like take cover behind. Right. So all you're doing when you do that breakdown is you're just taking those units that could still fit in the, I forget the term for it, but could still fit along on that line, and you're just putting them into the attack. So that seems very. I mean, I don't know if that's like historically what they would do. Maybe it's ahistorical, but it doesn't seem gamey.
Right, so we've got 17 versus 5, so it starts at 3 to 1. Armor versus no armor makes it 4 to 1, and you can just right-click on. these and increase the odds.
Oh, that's cool.
And then on turn 1, remember, you get 2 shifts out of these 2 artillery units. These and increase the odds. Versus 5, so it starts at 3 to 1. All right, so we've got 17 versus 5, so it starts at 3 to 1. Armor versus no armor makes it 4 to 1, and you can just right-click on these and increase the odds.
Oh, that's cool.
And then on turn 1, remember, you get 2 shifts out of these 2 artillery units. Team versus 5, so it starts at 3 to 1. Armor versus no armor makes it 4 to 1, and you can just right-click on these and increase the odds.
Oh, that's cool.
And then on turn 1, remember, you get 2 shifts out of these 2 artillery units. So I'll flip it to fired, and then I'll add 2 more columns, so it's 6 to 1 max. maximum is 7 to 1. Let's go over here to H and calculate it. Because I usually calculate everything before I decide where I'm going to use my artillery and my air, but in this case, I'm going to for sure throw it. All right, so we have 10 here. These ones are halved, so it's 4 and 2 makes 6. That's 16. So we have 10 here. These ones are halved, so it's 4 and 2 makes 6. That's 16. Reinforced 7. So 23, I think, is what I. Came up with versus that's 16, reinforced 7. So 23, I think, is what I came up with versus 10. He's doubled because all attacking units are attacking across a water barrier. If one of them was Martian, we were attacking out of it, it was down 10. So it's 2 to 1 odds base. No armor counts because all the armor is attacking across a river. So it's it's 2 to 1, but with the H artillery, that'll make it 4 to 1.
Got it.
Okay. I, we know, is 3 to 1, 11 versus 4. It's 2 to 1 with one shift, makes 3 to 1. J, everybody's happy. So it's 3, 6, 9, 12 versus 5. That's 1 to 1. The reason I'll tell you now, the reason I do this is because all of these units from 50th Infantry Division are slow. They're in 12. It's 2 to 1 with one shift, makes 1. J, everybody's have, so it's 3, 6, 9, 12 versus 5. That's 1 to 1. The reason I'll tell you now, 6, 9, 12 versus 5. That's 1 to 1. The reason I'll tell you now, the reason I do this is because all of these units from 50th Infantry Division are slow. They're going to fall behind the battle, and they're going to struggle to find things to fight for a while. So I would rather fight at 1 to 1 odds, even if I lose, because it's not going to change much if I lose. But if I win, then that's one unit you're not using to defend somewhere else. That's the only reason I do it. And you could make it 2 to 1, you could make it 4 to 1 if you, depending on whether you wanted to use air or artillery. But I just leave it at 1 to 1 usually. What I would normally do is I would definitely put air on this one to make it 5 to 1. And our air's right here. You just drag it over. And then I might make this one 7 to 1, or I might make this one 4 to 1. Your choice.
I feel like the road is the most important.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you look at, if you're a computer guy, you probably know your stats and whatnot better than most people. 7 to 1 is overkill, for sure, if you look at it.
Right. Okay. So then
But 7-1 is also the one that's going to give you that bonus breakthrough combat 5 out of 6 times, whereas 6-1 gives it to you 4 out of 6 times.
Right. Got it. And then you
All
can
right, so I'll let you, that's where I would go. Yeah, so you want to try to get that breakthrough, because if you can break this guy out of that position, you're doing better than they did historically. If you can kill him, all the better. If you can kill him, you've really done something nice.
I see. Cool. All right. So is that everything?
Yeah, where do you want that last area to go?
I put him on the
There,
road.
G? Okay. All right, so we're ready to go to the combat phase. Any questions before we do that?
I don't think so.
All right, so we're ready to go to the combat phase. Any questions before we do that?
I don't think so.
All right. I'm going to click the move button because I saw everybody do it. And then all those little tags are gone. And then if it were me doing it, it's very important when you replay logs to resolve these combats in order and for you to advance through them in order. When you get a combat file from me, the first thing you'll do is start a log file and record my die rolls. Because combat file from these combats in order and for you to advance through them in order. When you get a combat file from me, the first thing you'll do is start a log file and record my die rolls, because you can keep playing while you're recording. Okay? It won't mess anything up. But you want to be recording and playing, because I'll get to a point where I say, okay, combat A is done, do your advances, and then you have your log going. You will do your advances right there, and when you send it to me, I'll play it back and I'll see that in sequence.
I'm confused. Like, I'm honestly a little bit confused about how these log files work. Like, is it that we have a single log file that we share, or we each have our own log files? How does this work?
We want to share it. Yes, we definitely want to share the same one.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. So then, what do you mean I have to start a log file when I receive?
Yeah, I don't want to. I honestly don't want to get into it yet, because it might be a harder thing for me to explain.
Okay.
Right.
So if we're just for the sake of understanding people play by email, so at the point that my movement stops and I've placed all those attack markers, I would then email you my log file. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So then at that point I could close Vassal and do other stuff and then wait for you to email me back the log file, and then I open up Vassal again. And so what you do when you receive a log file, the first thing you did there was you clicked the clear all movement indicator button. Is that what you would normally do?
I do it early, not necessarily first thing, but yeah.
But when you're resolving those paths,
normally I would verify that your moves look accurate. I would look around and say, is anything look unusual? Is there anything that looks like a mistake here? Movement's really boring and mistake.
Okay, so I think, whoops. I think what I do now is I save the file and I send it to my opponent, and then he will play back everything that I did, verify that I didn't make any mistakes, and then he will resolve these attacks and do his retreats, and then save that log file and send it back to me. So I go to File, Save Game. I don't know. Is this different from saving the log file? Okay. Okay. Game saved. So, is that it? Oh, you are writing a log file save now? Okay. So I guess I just sent him that. Oh, that took a long time, but it was my first time doing it by myself, so it's expected. It would take a long time, but it was a good exercise. Okay, I guess I'll stop this.